All right, let's unpack today's proceedings. Then we are joined via Zoom by legal analyst, Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni. It's always a pleasure to see you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Flo, to you and the viewers.
What do you make of what the Public Protector Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane is saying there? Is there any merit to what she's saying, and more so legal merit to the allegations that she is making, that, you know, she is being treated unfairly?
Thank you for that question, Flo. Look, for me, it looks like the story of Samson and the temple. Then when the temple is about to fall, with your last strength, you want to collapse with everything and bring the whole edifice of the temple down. So, you can't make much of what she's making because they remain allegations, and those allegations, in order for them to be tested, she must be put under cross-examination, and she must bring evidence that substantiate the allegations that she's actually making. So that is what I can say in relation to the statements that she's making relating to the media, and also the issue relating to to the president and the CR17 campaign. Flo, I think what is also important is that with relation to the CR17 campaign, the Constitutional Court has ruled that exercise was beyond their mandate. And when the court has made that ruling, and you say something that is different, it doesn't add up at the end of the day.
But the question was really about, her fitness to hold office, and the issue was about whether or not she knows how to implement the law. But we've seen, this process degenerate somewhat, where we've, heard some of the witnesses against her saying things that really one wonders, how much legal merit there are. So my first question was whether or not what she is saying holds legal merit, based on the fact that some of the people that have testified against her, some of the issues that they raised were not necessarily legally sound.
Yeah, no, you're quite correct. That's how I actually answered you, Flo, to indicate that there's no merit whatsoever in what was being said. And then the merit of a statement is tested when evidence has been adduced to support that statement that is being made. If it's a blanket statement without evidence to support it, it remains that just as the statement. And that is what is important. And then I'm saying that what is important is when she's placed under cross-examination. I'll give you an example of what I'm saying to you. If you say that there is a narrative that you are incompetent and this narrative is being perpetuated by the media, and you are taken to cases where the court ruled against you, indicating that indeed that is the position, and the court indicated that the Legal Practice Council must look at your fitness as an advocate, then there is evidence to actually indicate otherwise, and that is what we are actually looking at here, Flo.
Yeah, and when we talk about the advocate's fitness to hold office, has there been enough proven or shown during these proceedings to indicate that she indeed isn't fit to hold office?
Yes, there's mounting evidence that was brought against her in that relation, and this evidence is backed up by by cases, and unfortunately, Flo, these cases keep coming. And when the inquiry was actually proceeding, there's another one where the court made ruling and findings against her, and set aside some of the reports that she made. And that setting aside was not only the setting aside of the report; it was accompanied by an adverse cost order against her. So, in terms of the evidence that was adduced, there is sufficient evidence on the table to actually point to the other direction, and that is what we have seen throughout the inquiry. And then, in terms of her testimony, she's actually pointing that there is a vendetta against her. There are people that were hell bent to make sure that she is not a success in that office, and that remains hearsay evidence unless you bring concrete witnesses to actually support that version with evidence that is going to persuade Parliament. Because, as you correctly said, Flo, that this inquiry is about fitness to hold office, and then that is what is important. And she has to adduce evidence to indicate that she is a fit and proper person to actually continue in a role of a public protector.
Yeah. On a side issue, the Office of the Public Protector has made certain complaints about, the finances in terms of financing these particular proceedings. And I say it's a side issue because, I suppose it does nothing to do with the suspended Public Protector, whether or not that office can continue to fund this. How would this continue, seeing that, this is going on? Do you see this sort of, even going anywhere? A lot of money has already been spent at this time, not because she wanted it to, not because she wanted this particular process. But, how's that supposed to be handled? Because you have that office saying, look, we simply don't have any funds in our coffers to fund this anymore. And I think not much has been said about this particular point.
Yeah, that is an important point, Flo, that you're actually raising, because it affects the right to be represented and properly represented. And the Constitutional Court indicated that she must have the right to legal representation. But you are quite correct to say that the Public Protector Office has indicated that they've got some limitations and in relation to funding of this inquiry, and then that it has continued beyond its budget, and then they're going to actually talk with the minister and see how far they can be able to assist her in continuing while not infringing her rights to legal representation, which is important, so that at least there's also finality in these proceedings. But as you're correctly saying, that the dragging out of the issues and the prolonging of the proceedings does not help the process, because the process needs to be wrapped up before a term ends, which is coming very soon. So she's the last witness, and we'll see how the cross-examination goes, and we'll see whether the department and the Public Protector's Office will be able to extend funding to finalize the legal representation.
All right. Thanks very much for giving your input. That's legal analyst, Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni there.